Design feedback can be painful and humbling, but don't take it personal. Today, I wanted to talk about how to receive design feedback. Let's say you land a project with an exciting problem space, and this problem space is familiar to you. You follow the protocol, you did your due diligence, you spent time to fully grasp the problem space. You ran through several discovery session rounds with stakeholders and users that you'll be designing for. You consolidated your data, prioritized the pain point, worked on a killer prototype that you thought, there is no way this isn't the solution. You get to the final presentation and you realize that your prototype solved for the wrong user problem or the least pressing problem, or it's filled with so many usability issues that it is unbelievable. At this point, you are terrified. You begin to question yourself as a designer. You begin to question existence. Okay, maybe that's too far, but you get the point. This can be a painful experience, but what makes it less painful is not taking the feedback personally. So let me let you in on a little secret. This was me a few years ago. Shh. So, how to receive design feedback? Number 1, take the scientific method mindset of solving problem to approach the business problems. First, you make an observation, then you gather the relevant data, build a hypothesis, test your hypotheses. Now, this is the getting feedback phase, and then make a decision and document your findings. If you approach a business problem from this perspective, it ultimately makes it easy to receive feedback because you have established from the start that you're conducting an experiment that you don't have answers for and you're going to find it. This makes it easier to receive feedback as the potential solution you're looking for. Number 2, focus on solving the user and business problem. When every piece of feedback that you get, focus on asking yourself questions like, how is this feedback going to address the user and business problem? Does it make it easier for users to use the product? How does this unit of feedback fit into the bigger picture? Because there's a bigger picture here of the workflow, the interaction, the product touch points. Number 3, detach yourself from your work. You're not defined by one failed project. A good example that I like to reference is Killed by Google. Now, Killed by Google, if you're not familiar, is a site that lists all of Google's failed projects. And trust me, there are a lot compared to Google's successful products, but that doesn't define Google. So, detach yourself from your work. See your work as an extension of you, but that is not who you are. So this makes it easy to receive feedback and not take it personally. So when someone says the button placement doesn't make sense, that doesn't translate to you don't make sense as a designer. You get it? Number 4, take feedback as a learning moment. Seek to understand why. Now, don't get me wrong, there are situations where you may not agree with the why. In such instances, explain your thought process and tie back to the business problem that you're solving to begin with. And if you still are not aligned, thank them for their feedback, note it down, and move on to the next thing. This gives you time to reflect later, and you might find that the feedback was helpful after all. And lastly, the SIFT method by Dr. Shanita Williams. And this is basically a framework that helps you evaluate and prioritize feedback. S stands for the source. Who is delivering this feedback matters. For example, a piece of feedback from the CEO tends to carry more weight than others within the organization. I is for impact. Now, Dr. Williams describes this in terms of how it affects one's behavior, and I would like to take this further into design. How much impact will a piece of feedback have on your design, the business, and your users, right? So the bigger the impact, the greater the urgency to incorporate that feedback. F stands for frequency. This refers to the number of occurrence of a feedback. How many people have talked about a particular pain point matters. T is for trend. Now, this focuses on other aspects of your work that has gotten a similar feedback and that could potentially be a theme. So once you go through the SIFT method, you end up with a SIFT score, which helps you then prioritize your work. So to learn more about the SIFT method, definitely check out the link in the description box below. I personally haven't used the SIFT method, but it seems like a really good way to prioritize feedback, not just for design feedback, but also personally in your life, which is really what the SIFT method is for. So that's it. I'm curious to know how you handle design feedback. If you've learned something new, share the knowledge with others by hitting that share button. If you're interested in more content like this, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up, and join the channel by subscribing and tapping on notification icon so you know when I upload a new video. See you in the next one.